Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts. My name is Noel Ruiz. I'm a designer here at Adafruit. Joining me every week, my brother Pedro.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pedro. Creative Tech here at Adafruit, and every week we're here to share 3D printed projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That is right. This is a show we combine 3D printing and DIY electronics to make inspirational projects. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is March 4th, 2026. It's episode 518. We're hanging out in all the usual places: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and X. So if you want to say hello on any of those networks, we can bring in the chat. We can discuss questions and comments. We have a really packed show today, so I'm just going to get right into it and say, we're in Discord. If folks want to join us on the Adafruit Discord server, we are there. The URL for that is up here in the purple bar, discord.gg/Adafruit. We're hanging in the live broadcast chat channel. We'll jump into the chat after a word from our sponsor, I guess. Does that work? Yeah. It's like a real network here. Adafruit.com/free to find out all the deals that are going on. We also have a big sale that we're going to talk about after this segment. If your order is $99 or more, you're going to get a free PCB coaster with a golden Adafruit logo. If your order is $149 or more, you'll get that PCB coaster plus automatically added to your cart a KB2040, and at the top tier at $199 or more, you're going to get it all. You're going to get the PCB coaster, KB2040, and free UPS ground shipping for continental US only. These deals are active until the supplies last. So these just get automatically added to your cart. And while you're at your cart checkout, why don't you use our coupon code ARTVibes to get 10% off your order. This coupon code will work with everything that's in stock. And you just type that out in the little box, Art Vibes. You'll get 10% off. And if you're reach any of these tiers, you'll get a free add-on that gets added. And you can't take the add-on off. It's just on there. You have to get it. It gets automatically added. All right. Adafruit.com. You go there. There's a sale going on. This is our monthly long sale. It's a sales week for weeks. So click on the keyboard. We have it's called the keyboard sale week. Click, 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 clack, tack. Sometimes it's hard to find the right keyboard that can give you the perfect satisfying click action with every keystroke. Maybe we can help you get a bit closer as you build your own keyboards with the products in this week's keyboard sale. So we have a link for folks. You can just go to the website and click on the banner. But yeah, we have a bunch of keyboard keycaps, keyboard accessories for sale that are like half off. So it's pretty cool. We got a bunch of stuff here, and we have a bunch of projects as well that use keycaps and all sorts of things. So check it out if you are interested. Looking for some keyboard stuff, you can get half off on these items.
Oh, well, we have the key molds that we used on that resin project.
That is right. Those little kitty key cat paws, so or maybe they're dog paws, some kind of paws. Yes. 1 second here. Yes. It wouldn't be a sale without a custom graphic keyboard week sale. Not a week sale, a sale. Sales week. A week sale would be like, that's weak, man. That's not a good sale. But this is a good sale. So yeah, it started last week. Last week was LEDs. This week is keyboards. And it's going to be on for the whole month of March. March Madness. Not to be confused with the sport. Okay, I think that's the whole spiel, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. And if you look at the Adafruit blog, there are some projects that are getting promoted that go with the sale. Somewhere in here. Yeah, like this one, for example. DIY resin keycaps. We were just talking about those. That's part of the sale. And our blog team will find more projects to promote that you can get some of the stuff that's on sale. Okay. Hello, everybody on Discord.
Good morning.
Let's do Duester, and Vince. Thank you for joining us live. And for anyone else who's watching on any of the channels, if you have any questions, comments, drop them in the place, your favorite network. And if you're on Discord, you can drop us GIFs, GIFs, and memes and questions, and we can bring them in the show. All right. Well, we have a new project. Pedro, you're up.
All right. This week we're launching the PyPortal Art Display project. We've been showing this off for, I don't know, a month or two. Or
6 months.
It took a little while to get this out and going. I think other projects came in the way.
That's right.
We talked about this as an inspiration for that one artist who was making like a melted artwork that like melted into the display. PT, that would be really cool to update our IoT image feed gathering project. So you tilt it over now and it
tweaked at you.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was the monkey or the PyPortal.
So we have the LIS 3DH in the back here. That is the accelerometer. And when you tilt it, it changes the image. You also have the ability to tap the screen. It'll change the modes. So all of the projects that we've had for PyPortal, they've been all separate, and I wanted to combine them all. So we have like the NASA picture of the day, the Cleveland Art Museum, cats, dogs, and even local images stored on your SD card. So all of those can now play nicely together. We have updated code, a bunch of like error checking and like fallback things. So if there's no internet, it'll grab things off the SD card. If your API key isn't inputted correctly, it'll tell you. I have a bunch of statuses that show up on the screen. And I used Claude Code to add all of those together. A nice little bit of optimization in there. So it's nice and fast. Last week you were telling me, oh, why don't you add like the shake function? So have that in there as well. So shake it. And then, yeah, it's even generating that that frequency too to make it sound like a kitty cat.
Yeah.
It has like does ramping of the frequencies. It goes from I think it was like 847 to I think like 1200. Make it sound like some sort of squeaky animal cat.
I really like that there's text on the screen that tells you what it's doing. It's fetching an image. It's loading the image. It's in this mode.
Yeah.
It's telling you what's the name of this art, which is all dynamic. It's all done in CircuitPython. You could change the font. You could change the colors if you want, but it's nice. It's legible. It says it's fetching, downloading.
If it fails, it tells you that it failed. It'll retry. One of the things that there's so many like refinements and things that after I finished the project that I wanted to add to it, like added rounding out the corners for like the background. I wanted to like have the light sensor to like adjust the brightness of the screen.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you can do that.
There's even more stuff that you can still add on there, but every at a time. Focusing
you got to stop at some point. It's like every sensor, every mode.
Even with the 3D printing too, one of the tasks that PT sent over to was trying that sculpt coding. I was trying that. We'll talk about that after the guide. I have some of the examples in the background here. And then just using like the sculpting program to try to make it look like that melting inspiration that we were basing this off of. And then refining some of the like the tilt, so it grabs it a lot more better. There's like a more not so narrow range of the tilt. It'll work both that way and then the opposite way.
You had to get the angle like just right and have it wait for like a second or two before it triggered it, which is kind of like, oh, is this like a game now? Or I have to like, what level can I get it?
Right.
But no, looks like you refined it good, and it's working. What is it? Skip. And just shake it. Yeah. So it's a good way to like test like which feature actually works better in practice. Shaking it, tapping it, whatever. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, once you get your settings down right, they all seem pretty snappy. Some of the things that we're using for the build is I'm using the down facing right angle USB micro USB and then a socket so that it's kind of hidden when you display it, show it off. So having trouble with trying to make this tall enough so it wouldn't bump into like the USB connectors, which could be pretty long because
they are very long.
Little what's it called? So you don't bend it, the bendy part. So it's a good way to use that with the ribbon cable. And then the mount for the LIS 3DH, super simple connection on there. We used the stemma converter, so it's converting the, I think it's Grove, right? The bigger stemma connector to the smaller stemma 4-pin connection on there. One thing of note, which is in the guide, but just gotta mention it again, you do have to cut a trace and then solder the pads so it drops it from 5 volts down to 3 volts to work with your sensors. So if you're going to use this for any other sensors, you definitely want to do that on the PyPortal.
Weep.
And some
Sounds like a
puppies.
dog squeak toy. Weep.
Then tap to change the modes. Let's go on and check out some kitty cats. So that downloads in the background. What else we can talk about?
Downloading.
I think I covered everything last week with the sculpting that I was doing.
Yeah.
The different filaments that we tried. I think the shiny one like cracked as soon as I printed it out. So I'm using like the matte gold matte PLA. And maybe we can just go to the guide, right?
Sure. Yep.
Go ahead and check out the guide over here. See if I can do this without looking. All right, so just basic breakdown of what I said and where to get the PyPortal, the main guide for it. So there's a ton of projects since this came out a couple of years ago. We have a bunch of these loaded up. We have like a bunch of countdowns, like weather apps for it and examples. And then here's some of the parts that you can get to build your own. So the screws are required.
Okay.
Circuit diagram for this is where you'll find that little warning I was talking about. There's the way that it's connected to the center port here. And then the I2 pads you want to cut on the back to drop it from 5 volts down to 3. So I'm using a flush cutter. It's the easiest way to just trim that little piece off and then solder the 2 pads together.
Okay.
We have a little breakdown of how to install CircuitPython for the PyPortal. I'll tell you how to get into the boot sequence to get your drive up. Setting up your TUML file, which is going to be like your Adafruit IO, like your Wi-Fi password and all of that. So funny, I tried putting this into the code and Claude was like, you should not do that. Put it in your TUML file so you don't accidentally upload it. Yeah, so I like how smart it is on that. Like I was putting trying to put my API key in there. It's like, no, don't do that. Put it in.
Wow.
Don't put it in the code.
Yeah.
Nice little breakdown of how everything is operating. And it is a long page because we're having
over 1,000 lines of code because there's a lot of comments.
So 1,173 lines of code.
Not too bad, but I mean, it's doing a lot.
It's doing a bunch.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, a lot of the things that make the code so long is because of like, I don't know, like mode management, the fallback, like feed helpers.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch going on that we're able to now get for, free, quote unquote, because we're able to just in one prompt tell it, hey, if, the SD card isn't read, do this instead. Like if there's no internet, grab stuff off the SD card. So we're able to put a bunch of like helper stuff in there. Did my screen freeze?
No.
It's just slow to update.
It's just slowed, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's long, but
it's converting the image in the right aspect ratio, and there's a lot of
So for the Cleveland Art Museum, it's actually sifting through which images are not pixelated. So that's some of the error checking that I added. Yeah. So if the image is too pixelated, it won't even grab it. If it's under 100 kilobytes,
too small or something.
Yeah, if it's too small, if it's too big, so it's actually sifting through images.
It checks it against height and width of the image.
Yes.
That's
so
smart.
Before it would just try to grab whatever image it could, and I noticed that sometimes it would like load super slow when I first started out.
Yeah,
because this is an existing project, and adding all that stuff, all those quote unquote complexities now required a lot of, knowing how to code that in or spent more time to have that all in. Now it's all super easy. I can just tell, hey, sift through these, filter this, if this is too big, don't even display it. So you'll have a like 98% chance of getting an image that will work perfectly on the screen, and it will be faster to convert to a BMP. So here's one of the cool breakdowns that we had Claude write up. Like if there's missing hardware or settings, it'll tell you. If there's an accelerometer, it'll fall back to the screen tap. You can even have a button, like a momentary button hooked up to the analog port. So you can use that as the advancer.
Right.
It shows you how the feeds work. If you want to start off in a different mode, you can just change that there. It'll tell you where. So if you want to start off on the SD card images, you can just type in their local. Or if you want to rearrange the way the feeds cycle through, you can edit that.
Oh, I didn't realize you had display time. So each mode, you can fine tune how long you want an image to stay up.
Yeah, you can customize all that.
Granular.
Dude, it's so granular.
Yeah.
And it actually tells you how long each thing takes for while it's pre-fetching in the background. So it even did math for that.
Okay.
Since it takes an average of whatever 15 seconds to pre-fetch an image, with accounting for if the image fails and it tries to pre-fetch again.
Okay.
How to get the local images.
I like this, that it gives you like bullet points of like, here's with the minimal amount of words, like you need to put images, bitmap images that are this size in the folder.
That is something that I told it to do as well, because it was like making a long status bar where it was like it gets a little annoying. So I was like, hey, just make sure that it's condensed and small, but still gets the point across.
Right.
Some of the tilt detection stuff. So if you want to increase the range, or if you don't even want to use it, you can edit all that stuff there. If you want to like increase the hold time. And then something that caught your eye here was the shake detection. You're like, oh, in CircuitPython, I forget what the code was for it, and it just made its own. Yeah, so the shake count, which is like the spike, like how many you notice, like when I shake it, it's like 2 spikes, and that's something that I intuitively did when I first tested it out, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, I'm just using 2 shakes. But if you want to have like 3 or 1, you can adjust that there and then adjust the threshold. But all that is editable there. Another one that caught your eye was the audio chirp, how it's generating a wave file.
Yeah, because I'm like glancing over the code when I'm reviewing it, and I see this wave file that's like, it's going to do this wave file, right? And I'm like, well, wait a minute, Pedro, did you add the wave file to the GitHub repo? And you're like, no, it generates it. I was like, wait, that's not possible. CircuitPython cannot generate a wave file, write it to the SD card. It just can't do that. Scroll a little bit down, and you can see the function exactly how it's generating a wave. And I'm like, well, why is it doing that? Like, isn't that going to slow it down? No, it doesn't. It doesn't slow it down. So
I don't know.
You could say, hey, use SynthIO or use PWM audio. But it's like, why not? Like, it's doing it. It sounds
and
right.
Not only that, it's ramping through the frequency too. So like I was saying,
it's like
843 and ends at 1200. So it sounds like a little bird or a cat.
Yeah.
And you can adjust the duration.
In terms of iteration, if you want it to ramp the other way, you want to do a different, kind of
that's how it started range.
You don't have to remake the wave file and add it in. It's all code. You just
it's not a file that we have to include in the GitHub either, because it's generating.
It makes
on its own.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say, like, if you have no bitmap images, generate me an image.
Right.
or just display the text.
That did occur to me. That's funny. But no, it's super cool.
But yeah, this is what like kind of makes me stop. Like, wait,
function.
What? Didn't know
a function that I did not know it could do. It does it right at startup each time, and I don't know if you've seen it, it's pretty fast when it starts up.
Yeah.
So that's cool. The tap sensitivity to the screen. When it was when I first was testing out this it was getting like false taps, so it added this tap pressure.
Wow.
It told me that it was because of the interference from the ESP chip.
It says right there, it says caused by the SPY bus noise during network activity.
Oh, there you
right
go.
up there. Yeah, it
Cool.
literally says like, the touchscreen uses a pressure threshold to filter out false triggers caused by the SPY bus noise during network activity. I never would have thought of that.
I didn't know if that was true or not, but if it is, it fixed it. Adding that the filtering for that.
Yeah,
and that's a common thing I've seen. Like for the lamp project for the microphone, it did the same thing. It did filtering. It looked at the range of what the room noise is. So it's a common thing now that I'll always be aware of when implementing things like this. You can even adjust the slide transition. So like how many steps it takes for it to actually slide down. This was a good medium, which I found to be, which made it look fast for doing the transitions. And it tells you what each section here does. And you can even make it more curvy if you want. Some of the snaps that I took, it looks like it's a nice big old curve. I was trying to make it look like a drip of paint. I wanted to use like an alpha channel, that I would draw, but Claude said that the display IO does not have that ability.
Okay.
So maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Around 3D printing, super simple. You are going to need, unfortunately, a bunch of tree supports because of all the drippiness and the way that it stands, which I thought was a cool way to have it not have like these like stands in the back or like a hook to put it on the wall. I like how it's just on the corner with this little splat that holds it up, and then the link to the CAD files as well as the 3MF. You want to load that up with all of the options already embedded in there. That should work since there's not multiple beds in any of the Orca slicers.
Cool.
Assembly is super easy. We just have a bracket for the accelerometer using the M25/6mm screws. And then the bracket is then mounted on top of the PyPortal. The PyPortal uses the M3 screws though. You need longer screws for that so it can get through the bracket into the PyPortal and then into the frame in the back. Optionally, like we were saying, you can use that USB with the ribbon cable just to reroute to the back. Not seeing it too much. And then the SD card, you pop that in and start up. Is what it looks like.
I'm surprised you didn't use the USB-C, like, because you can go from micro B to USB-C, I think, right? Or no?
Which one? What's the PID?
It's from micro B to micro B. It'd be funny if you went from micro B to C. That's the way to like
cable.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I thought because they are interchangeable. The DIY USB connectors.
Oh, I see what you mean. You mean.
Yeah. You could have converted it if you wanted to. But
yes, you're right.
Stayed with the micro B because it's like I don't.
There was a reason why. There was a reason why I stayed with it. Oh, the purple cable that I'm using, it's reversible. So I didn't have to sit there and USB is as well.
That's why
the A part is also reversible, which
it is. Yeah,
the C would have been reversible as well.
That's funny.
Think of that.
Yeah. Anyway, you can do that. It's optional.
Yes,
simple builds in terms of
you can
printing.
rearrange that. You're right. It's completely rearrangeable.
Yeah.
Let's see. The usage page just tells you, how you can change the feeds, how all those operate, the warning signs, the EMPs, skipping images, like how to do the tilt, the shake, if you want to add that momentary button, the image transitions. The feedback, the way the prefetch works, the timing, the auto cycling, the error recovery. Like if your internet goes down in the middle of a download, it'll go straight to the SD card image, feeds work, the image pipeline.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that the CircuitPython handles bitmaps better. Raw JPEGs and PNGs won't work directly. It has to do some stuff. The Adafruit IO image formatter service handles the conversion, so it is using Adafruit IO. It's a free. You can do that for free. You can sign up for free. Resizes it, converts it to the 16-bit bitmap format. It downloads directly to the SD card as a cache file, so it's ready for the display to show. This is why the the Adafruit IO username and key are in the settings.toml, and then it's you're breaking out the API URL and the image count.
So then it shows you how each feed is broken down. The Cleveland Art Museum does not require an API, but the NASA one does. Just to get on the you have a higher limit on how many images it grabs.
Yeah, I looked this up. APOD is picture of the day, which I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
you got the kitty cat API, the dog API, and then how to add your own feed.
Yeah, you can add your own feed. You could have added a Adafruit feed for like the product.
I thought about that, but again, it's one of those things where the limiting factor now is time. The creativity is now open.
Yeah, you're gonna stop at some point, and like feature creep, you know, you could say that this was feature creep, but when you have unlimited powers of like Claude to add whatever feature you want and iterate on it so quickly, I don't know what is feature
which is
creep
pretty cheap. The tokens for this was, I think,
you did
because I did it within the month of when it charges. I only went over by like $2, so I think it cost like $40 for the lamp project and this, which would have been how much more for having one of our programmers do this,
right?
Where I'm uploading to GitHub and it's like, oh, the piloting changed, so I need to refactor this entire code page. So it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, and it gets into discussion like, well, you're taking jobs away from our team that's doing because now they can work on other projects. It's like there's always ideas and there's always projects, and now we can just add more to it with a faster time.
Yeah, we're not blocked or like having to re-explain why we want this change or why we think this doesn't
I want to completely refactor the loop. It's like, no. It's like, okay, now I can, because it took 2 seconds to refactor the loop, because it just feels better this way.
Oh my god, this comment from Vince saying that his favorite thing is giving Claude a
my favorite thing these days is to have Claude and general AI give my code a once over. He's like, I'm learning a lot and trading my old bad habits for new ones. And then Darth Paul is saying that the spybeless clock can be very EMI noisy, at least for the one that goes off. Chip. So
we got confirmation. Yes,
I assume
we weren't sure if it was making things up or not.
Yeah, it seems like hallucinating is not really that much of a problem, I guess, with the latest model.
Opus 4.6, yeah.
Is Opus?
That's what I'm using.
I'm using Sonnet 4.6.
No, use Opus. It thinks like it takes.
Oh, I see.
It does deeper thinking about.
Oh, I have to upgrade. I'm using the free thing. I'm just whatever free, man. So Sonnet 4.6 is just like, hey, I'm trying it out for free. And I just kind of jumped the gun there on the very, very interesting GIF choice there, Yanni. Dog just
what I quickly glanced over, what I thought Vince had said, that he gave Claude a voice, which I've seen like on my feed, people using a voiceover for Claude. And I wanted to, what I thought would be funny was ask Claude questions about this project, sort of interview style. Hey, Claude, what were you thinking when you came up with the wave thing?
Yeah.
And had it tell us why.
Hey, why did you? Are you just flexing here? Is Claude just like, yeah, I can just pump? How much iron can I pump? Like, I can generate my own wave file. I don't need to wait for you, human, to make me a wave file. Here you go. It's like,
it's funny because I said, I spent all this time looking for like the perfect wave file sound effect.
Right. And it's like, no.
It'll be faster if I just generate it.
Okay. Yeah. Amazing. So I think PyPortal, Adafruit IO, APIs, Internet of Things, all that, CircuitPython, it's all a good test bed for this project. And you're really like kind of learning a lot by making this project and figuring out like, okay, now that I have the ability to do in quickly rapid code changes, I can use it. And then as I'm using it, I can enhance it and I'm not limited to like, well, I don't know how to do that, or my developer that I'm working with doesn't have the time, doesn't have the cycle to iterate this and add all these things. So now that's what you focused on. You focused on error handling. How does it work? How does it use it? What are the right values that work in practice, right?
Mhm.
You're the one orchestrating this thing.
Yeah.
Right.
We were having a discussion about, this doesn't feel like vibe coding, because we reserve that to like people who, have never been, in meetings with programmers, who haven't seen like a circuit, for instance, CircuitPython grow from a fork to what it is now, where it was just the MicroPython fork into a full blown its own, branch.
Yeah.
We feel like it is like orchestrated because we're telling it specifics, like, hey, grab this library, use these pins, use this workflow. We're not using high level vague terms to get our output. We're using specific terminology on how to do it. And then it's given us back, 3 options on how to do it, which is so cool.
It is. So this is your second Adafruit project, like official Adafruit project, written with Claude. You guided it through the finish line. You're
the most
learning
thing
how
I'm happy about is, the second project that I'm using it for that, but my second GitHub pull request.
Yeah. So
I think that's the coolest thing. Yeah.
Right. You're learning how to get your code to Pylint. You're understanding what it means to like fix code so it passes, and so that you're adding it to the repo. Which is great, because like normally I had to do that, or someone on the team has to do it for you, and then has to write the code up, the code breakdown. It's like, now you can do it all, so that's really cool.
Even specifics on the code breakdown. Anne was saying, oh, there's all this funky HTML tags that it's adding. I told God, hey, can you give this to me with, no clean crazy code, class or divs?
Give me raw. Give me the raw text, please.
Here's a text file. And I'm like, I don't like this text file because it's still not giving me like H3 tags. And it's like, oh, well, I can just reformat it so you can copy it correctly in the chat window. I'm like, okay, yes, please do that. And now, all the things that I'm doing, I'm saving as memory and saving it as a skill. So now Claude knows right from the beginning of the project to write it a certain way so it'll pass Pylint, so it'll pass CI, so it'll be ready for formatted when we have to go into the Learn Guide and add this in for documentation.
Right.
So I think that's the coolest thing, to where it remembers things. I remember I forget for what part of this, when we were thinking of something, I was like, hey, in an earlier chat, we did something. And it's like, oh, let me find it. And it found it from the LAMP project, some chat that we did,
oh, wow, interesting,
weeks ago. And it's like, okay, I found it here. Here's the implementation that we chatted about before, and it added it.
Wow, okay.
I can't remember what the specifics was, but it's so cool that it was able to go back in time and figure out how we did a certain thing.
Wow. It's almost like it's a memory. Tied to saying low detail prompts and not checking results feels like the definition for vibe coding. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. The
name.
Yeah. We were saying in the discussion, it's for like, the mom who is in her spare time coding up an iPhone application. That's what I think is like vibe coding, who doesn't know, how to set up Xcode or how to make sure that it passes when uploading to the Apple Store. That's what I define as vibe coding.
I
don't know what to call what we're doing. Like,
it's just coding, man.
Orchestrated, like hand holding, showing examples and pointing to libraries and knowing the terminology to use.
So all this stuff, I had yet to do my own small Claude coded project, but I did it on Saturday over the weekend. And now I get to share with you folks what my experiences has been. So let me give you a quick demo of what it is. Really, really simple. I've had this idea to make a NeoPixel Strip interactive with MIDI controllers. Why am I not bringing my screen?
Oh, I can't.
Did it go away? Here it is. Okay, yeah. So here's just a USB MIDI controller. Here's the setup. You got a Cutie Pie. RP2040 running CircuitPython, and then you have a NeoPixel BFF. It just makes it so that it does the 5-volt level shifting, so it's proper NeoPixel power, and then one of these NeoPixel strips that connect to the JST connector thing on there. I'm using Liz's, Liz Clark. She designed this this little helper board that just lets you spread out your BFFs. So it's, I think she's calling it there it is, a BFF squad, which is cool. So that's the hardware setup. I have a 3D printed case with a grid that houses the NeoPixel strip. So the idea was I just want to be able to hit a key on this USB MIDI keyboard and then light up some of the pixels individually. So you might not hear it, but that's fine. The main thing is I'm pressing a note and the NeoPixels light up. You've seen this kind of thing, piano visualizers, but normally they use like a Raspberry Pi and some web software. I just wanted something really, really simple. I just want to be able to see some lights light up whenever I hit a note and spread them out, add some different colors, and that's basically the project. Where I end up with this, I'm not sure yet. We got some ideas, but this is just the prototype phase, right? So I wanted to share my chats, my prompts. So I'm not a professional CircuitPython coder or Python coder, but I've worked with folks for a while. So I knew to start off with, some boilerplate, like here's a setup, importing the libraries that I know I'm going to need, USB MIDI, Adafruit MIDI. Here's the NeoPixel strip setup. I have 16 pixels in this strip. I want it to be that brightness. I want it on this pin. Here's the object for the pixels. I know I want to have the MIDI thing set up with the channels and the port, and then MIDI receive to receive messages. And that's all I have. So I told Claude, hey, writing CircuitPython code using Adafruit RP2040. I'd like to create an interactive light strip using NeoPixel LED strip. I have a USB MIDI controller. Whenever the MIDI note is received, a NeoPixel will light up in the color red. Whenever the note is released, turn off the NeoPixel LED. Here's the code that I have so far. So it said, okay, here's your completed code with MIDI note handling added. And you can see here, it kept all the same stuff. It added a function here that says a note to pixel. And then it has a comment. It says map a MIDI note number to a NeoPixel index. And then here's the real thing that's making it do it. And then it explained it for me. So a few things worth noting about the changes. The MIDI mapping, the MIDI notes range from 0 to 127. But if you only have 16 LEDs, it's going to wrap the numbers in that range. So every 16 notes, it cycles through the strip. You can change this logic if you want to do different mapping, such as responding to specific octave range. The velocity 0 is note off, so it handled that for me. It also knows about auto write false that you need to call it, so that it says this is good practice and it prevents flickering when updating multiple pixels at once. So I was like, that's awesome. That's great. Now I want to do some changes, right? I've used dictionaries before, and for my particular thing, I wanted to map specific notes to specific NeoPixel LEDs. So I said, hey, let's do that. And let's start with note C2, which I thought was 32. And in the dictionary, I will manually edit the colors and the note number. And he was like, okay, here's the updated code. Here's the dictionary that I wanted. So those are the notes. You notice that this starts with 36 and not 32. And then it updated all that. It says a couple things to point out in the structure. The dictionary uses the MIDI notes as the key, and it stores a tuple, which is just RGB value. And to customize, you can change it. But it says, like, note that the MIDI note C2 is actually number 36, not 32. So middle C, C4 is 60, and so C2 lands on 36. Unmapped notes are handled gracefully. If a note comes in that isn't in the dictionary, it simply prints a message and moves on rather than crashing. So it just figured that out for me. And that little thing there, being able to print, you see how it says it prints if there's no note. That was able to help me pick the notes that I actually want, because now it's helping me debug and figure out what are the notes I actually need to map. And that was really good. So then I kind of just kept going. I'm like, okay, well, let me do MIDI channel 1 and 2. Yeah. It's like, here you go. And it also updated. Look at this. It says, in the print statements, it converts it back to human readable channel numbers for easier debugging. So it handled that for me instead of having to like, think about that the 1 is actually a 0 and the 2 is actually a 1. It
Oh,
just
wow.
did it for me, for human readable, number. So that's cool. So I was like, okay, cool. What about a boot sequence? I would like a wipe animation. It's like, okay, here's your wipe animation. I mean, I could have pulled this out of the NeoPixel library. I've done wipe animations before,
Again,
but
that's like
I
tedious. Like
didn't have
when you
to,
do
right?
one
Yeah.
wrong paste or you do one wrong formatting, it like wrecks your thing. And then if you don't know, you're sitting there going, "Oh no, what did I do?" Hunting for it.
It didn't ask what colors to wipe, right? It just said, why not
Oh, it just made
RGB and
one.
white? It
Ah,
just thought like, of
huh.
course I need to have wipe off so that it doesn't like just stay lit.
Oh,
So it did all that, it figured it all out
smart
for
enough to
me.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, it has a delay, so you can change the delay. It tells you that, gives it a smooth visible sweep without feeling sluggish.
Nice.
It chains everything together in the function, red, green, blue, and white. And you can easily reorder it, remove it, wipe to customize the sequence to your liking. Okay, let's keep going. Let's add a LED fade out when the note off occurs. It's like, sure, let's do it. Here's the thing though. One thing to be aware of, the fade out is a blocking loop. Rapid note offs on multiple pixels simultaneously will queue up and fade after another rather than in parallel. If you find this to be an issue with your playing style, the next step would be to add non-blocking fade using a timer-based approach in the main loop. Yeah, I said, let's do it. So it did it. It redid it. It did a timer-based approach that's non-blocking. And the code's getting a little bit bigger, but it's still digestible. The main thing of it is just like you got this big library, this big dictionary, but it is all commented. It's debugging properly. It's giving me still good print statements in the REPL. So it just broke it down, and immediate note on cancellation when a note arrives. The code checks if the pixel is fading and deletes it before restoring to the full color. Since the fade is no longer blocking, this happens instantly with no lag or buildup. So I'm like, okay, let's go back to wrapping. Let's get rid of, the specific MIDI notes. I want to have this work with the piano so that any key I press, the lights will light up no matter what. It's like, okay, let's go back and do it. It completely changed the main structure of the code, which probably would have took someone a lot of time, but I'm just prototyping and figuring things out. So I was able to do it. And this is where we're at right now. This is where I'm at. Like what I just showed you in my overhead is the latest. And this is really cool. I don't know. It's a good
play
way
around with it.
to
Get
play
a
around
feeling
and
for how
right.
it actually functions.
Yeah. I guess the thing I was going to say is like, if I told, if I was working with a developer and I was like, hey, why don't we redo it? It feels bad for me, and the poor developer has to go and manually do it, unless they're using Claude, because then we could have done it. But
We're talking about like 4 times.
yeah, 4 times. So I don't know. It just allows me to quickly try something out and say, I kind of changed my mind. Why don't we go back and do it this way? So now me and you are able to have suggestions, ideas, and this is how the new collaboration works, right? Instead of having to painstakingly go through line by line, we can just shoot out different ideas. So I have some ideas. Liz had some ideas as well. Why don't we make it 4 pixels tall to make a NeoPixel grid that's like doing the serpentine thing, so that you can have velocity control each pixel, right? So the velocity will be seen in those 4 NeoPixels going up. And then what did I want to say here?
You put notes. You had notes.
Yeah, no, you said, why don't you have mode so you can switch between like your drum mode and your piano mode. So I thought that was a really cool idea. Then of course you're like, why don't you have Claude point to the pilot skill so that it's checking to make sure that everything passes pilot before I even get there. So that was a good idea. So I'm writing these notes down, and yeah, it's been interesting. So this is my first time using Claude Code, and I thought a MIDI NeoPixel, that's like my jam. I always love working on custom MIDI controllers and then doing interactive MIDI things with CircuitPython. I think is really fun. And finger drumming is one of my hobbies. Producing music and stuff like that. That's something I like to do in my free time. So I'm kind of combining the things together, and now I can I've always had this desire to like make an interactive kind of MIDI controlled thing and I'm slowly getting there. And now I can just kind of like spitball these ideas, but with the knowledge of like, oh, let's keep the code optimal, let's keep it clean, you know, that sort of thing. I'm able to kind of steer the ship in the right direction, I think.
Yeah.
So that's been my experience so far.
Yeah, this is relevant to a comment here on the Discord saying the tools are cool, still have to use them correctly, which the PyLinting and the CI tools that we use on Adafruit's GitHub is ensuring that they are, I guess, correct, because that's what Claude is now checking against to make sure that it will pass the PyLinting, that it is formatted and structured in a way that all of the code on our main branch is set up.
Yeah, this is great. Carter just had another idea. Like, let's lay it out. It's basically what I wanted to do. This is from the movie The Close Encounters. I basically want to make this thing, you know, where you can see that the grid arrangement has those multiple steps. That's basically what I want to do.
You know what? To switch modes, you should play a tune like do 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 do, and it switches modes that way.
God, that's a funny idea. I could totally do that. Yeah. So I have like a special upright left down A/B select start, like, you know, yeah. Great. Thanks, Carter. That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. So that is where I want to go. I want to make this a 4x16 approach. I'm sticking with 16 because mainly the thing I want to do is add some sort of light display for my my MIDI controller for doing finger drumming. It only has 16 pads, so I want to have each pad kind of show that here's the kick, here's the snare drum, here's the hi-hats, and they're kind of like in these big grids. So that's where I want to go. But I think for demo purposes, showing the MIDI controller, like now I'm thinking, like, is this like a project for me, or is it more global for like a basic piano style MIDI controller? So that's where I'm like kind of going, like, where should I steer the Learn Guide project? And then how do I offshoot it to my finger drumming? Because that's very niche, very specific to finger drumming. But this one, I feel like there's a lot of folks that have used MIDI pianos, and adding a little light bar to it just adds a little bit of extra flair to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. Let me see here. That fade out effect really adds a lot of niceties to it, like a lot of polish to it. Real quick, it's just I think a 4-part. You got a back cover, you got a frame, and then you have an internal grid that isolates the NeoPixels. So that's how you're able to see. That's how you're preventing the lights from leaking into each other. Is that grid that's built in, and then you just have like a 3-layer thin white PLA print that gets overlaid on top and gets sandwiched in between this little assembly here. But I really like using this NeoPixel strip with the JST, because then you don't have to solder the strip. I did have to cut the silicone sheathing out, but I was able to keep this piece on here because it's like hot glued in place. But you can still see I kind of pull it out a little bit. But now I can focus on design. Like, do I want to make these like a little bit more squished, a little bit more elongated? I could do custom shapes if I want them to do triangles, hexagons. I can go all crazy. It doesn't have to be a square. It's just that's what I have right now.
You know what I'm thinking for the animation is it goes from like a red to a blue or something like that. Have like the color ramp change.
Yeah. So there's the color ramp, but also the brightness can be controlled via the velocity. So that's the thing that's really cool that I want to do. These are just kind of random colors, really. I could also have it random so that instead of it's always red, it can just kind of cycle through different colors. So there's that. Yeah. So now I have to really sit down and think, like, okay, what do I actually want? I can just you start thinking of all these ideas. You could implement them all, but you still need to think about like general purpose, what makes sense as a Learn Guide.
I mean, you could split them off and have different projects for each one.
Yeah, I think I am. Yeah. So let's see.
Carter is asking, software running is a PC handling the USB host?
Yeah, so the PC is, yep. So this connects to my computer, and the computer is running some DAW software, and the DAW software has a MIDI channel that has it spitting out, and the QtPy is just receiving any MIDI channel and any MIDI note. So yeah, Yeah, that's how it's working. The sound is coming out of my iMac, which is running Logic. That's the DAW. That's the digital audio workstation, the software. But yeah, that's how it's working. Yeah, good question. Yeah, just to kind of fully explain the audio setup. Where's the audio coming from? So I'm just controlling a software synth, an electric piano thing that's a part of Logic. Is the name of the software. Sorry, I'm just clicking on all the things. Okay, cool. Yep. Yeah, I did think like, because the way I'm using my finger drumming controller, it's using Bluetooth MIDI. So I was thinking like, how would that work? Because I like using an iPad with the Bluetooth MIDI controller. So I'm wirelessly. So how would I add it to that? That's another thing. But I think having a computer host, keeping it simple, and the QT Py is just like receiving MIDI notes through the host computer is kind of like the main, the generic kind of setup for folks. Yeah. Okay.
Checking the comments.
Checking the comments. Yeah.
Let's see. Conrad says, "Yay, timers."
Yeah. Then we get into like, what kind of timers are right? Should we be using monotonic or should we be using ticks? I should ask Claude. Why are you using monotonic? Shouldn't be using ticks? Isn't it more accurate? I don't know. What do you guys think? It depends, right? It depends on what the application is. At the end of the day, I'm just fading a pixel out. Like, does it really matter if it's accurate?
Yeah, I mean, ask based on, I don't know, performance or memory usage. And find out that way.
Yeah. Then it gets into like, what is the style that the programmer that you would like? Do you like double spaces or do you like tabs?
Oh,
do you like monotonic or do you like ticks? I don't care either way, as long as it's doing the thing.
That's the mode change tune right there. Or each mode has a different key sequence.
We're just gonna keep spitballing ideas. Yeah. That's where it gets dangerous. It's like, right? Oh no, I have too many ideas. What do I do?
Shake to change colors.
Shake to change colors. Oh, gosh. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I'm having a lot of fun with it. This is the first time using Claude Code for a fun idea.
Yeah, this is like I was saying, this goes into user experience. This goes into UX design now.
Yeah. You have to really sit down and think, okay.
Yeah, we've never been able to comfortably spend enough time in that and test it out for, like in my case, I tested out different wipes for a whole week until I figured out, oh, this doesn't feel right, or the timing on this isn't good, or last minute.
We could try out ideas, which normally would cost us a lot of time.
We'd be out of time.
Really, like, okay, it has to be rigorously like thought out through, like, okay, this is the feature set. Let's not strive from it. But then when you actually get there, you realize, wait a minute, it's actually better if you change it this way. So now we are able to do that. Okay, real quick before we move on to the next segment, if anyone wants to purchase something from Adafruit, we got a 10% off coupon code, Art Vibes. That'll get you 10% off. Use that in checkout. We also got freebies, and of course, the sale is going on. If you go to the shop and scroll down to the banner, you can see. Well, I had it somewhere here. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up. We have it linked in the show's description. Do you know what I'm talking about? The keyboard link.
Yep, I put it in the Discord.
Okay, here it is. It's on the blog as well. No, not that. I keep going to your. Sorry. It's this one here. There it is. Keyboard sale. Stuff is on sale. Keyboard stuff this week. All the keyboards, all the keys, all the caps. Okay.
Make the clicky.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about we'll talk about it next week. Our experience using the sculpt code.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. For Shop Talk, hold on. Before we jump into the sculpt stuff.
No, I'm not going to cover it. We'll cover it next week because we got 5 minutes, but it's just a little preview of us using it. Did not turn out as well. Maybe it's just the color. we'll try different ones. We got a 3-pack, maybe the gray one. I did like being able to add material to it to give it more of that droopy look, but it just does not look good.
No.
I think I spent 2 hours doing this, which I could have spent on filming.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least you tried it, and we'll talk more about
Maybe
it.
that's all I need to say about this.
Maybe. Not for this project, maybe for more of like a bust, a sculpture. I mean, that's what it's for, right?
Maybe a time lapse. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I
not
keep
for
seeing it as
sculpture.
for art stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, I just want to say, if folks are looking to create like a learn guide for themselves, the Adafruit Playground is a great platform for that. So, for me, I wanted to document me repairing my Machine Micro MK3, which is just a MIDI controller for finger drumming. I wanted to use it over the weekend, and one of the pads stopped working. So I looked up, iFixit and other places on the internet to see if anyone had repaired one, and they haven't really documented. And maybe there's one of some really, it's just one photo. So I went the whole tear down route and annotated my photos, and it was really fun to take this apart. And the right to repair, it was easy to take this apart and clean it up, and it was basically just some cat hairs that got in between the rubber pads, the elastomers, and the cover traces. So I cleaned it up all nice. I need to get a dust cover, right? But there are replacement sensor pads, which I did not need. Great, because there's a little transparent sheet with some black carbon, and I just cleaned that up too with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and some cotton swabs. So I just cleaned it up. And there's some little things to note, there's an interesting header pin thing that when you take the PCB out, there's like still things that are secured. There's other components PCB that are secured to the front plate of the enclosure. So, it's an interesting way how this works. Like it feeds through it. And so you just got to be careful when putting it back together. But if anyone has any problems with their MIDI controller, very niche, right? I thought I'd put together that. So instead of putting it on my own blog, because I really don't have one, I thought using a playground note would be really neat. And lots of folks are doing that as well. And it's a good way to kind of get more eyeballs on a topic that you're exploring or a project that you're making. No ads, very clean, very neat. And there's a lot of tool sets. It's free. I think it's a pretty cool platform. So this was a good thing to document, and not as a learn guide, but as a playground note, so that folks can still see it. So I just wanted to let folks know. Okay. We got 2 minutes left. Let's get through our PunchPal here.
Yeah. This week for Timelapse Tuesday and Community Makes, we have this super cute PunchPal referencing that cute little monkey who was not accepted. So the zookeepers had to get him a little doll to snuggle up with. Super sad, especially when you first see it with that sad Naruto music playing over.
That's funny. Yeah.
So super cool, little flexible orangutan stuffy. I used the ramping orange to like lighter orange color for the material, and then the little peach color for the little skin parts.
Yeah, it came out really, really nice. Like that gradient filament works really good, especially since it gets lighter near the tummy. Like that
in the face. Yeah, it worked out perfectly.
Airbrush painted or something. Very, very nice.
I think it does look like it's airbrushed, but yeah, it's the ramping or the color gradient.
Right.
Can't really see the eyes. They're supposed to be like a purpley, sparkly purple. But yeah, it's just referencing that super cute little monkey who has finally been accepted by another monkey.
That's funny. Yeah. So I didn't know about this story. Liz told me about it. I pulled up the CNN article, and it was so IKEA has this.
They sold out.
They sold out like out of everywhere of this monkey, and they donated to various zoos and stuff like that as well. So it's a very heartwarming story. So that's the story behind why you picked the PunchPal. And I'll bring up the model page. It's a free
poor little monkey. Why is he named Punch?
I don't know. It's Japan, man. It's just, not everything is a perfect one-to-one translation. Punch just sounds cool, and I guess. But yeah, punch the monkey. That sounds terrible.
I know.
Let me see here. So here's the model. It was uploaded by a Maker World user, GEEKDECO, and yeah, they called it the PunchPal Articulated Comfort Orangutan.
Oh,
And
there's the
you can print it in one
monkey.
color. It doesn't have to be AMS, but boy,
Yeah.
does it look amazing in AMS. Look, you can fit 5. You can fit 4 of them in one plate.
I should have printed 2.
Yeah, right.
Because of course,
yeah,
Declan wants
profiles
one.
are here. You can support them on Patreon if you want to get, like, you know, more models. Nice breakdown. People are printing it. So if you can't get your IKEA orangutan, you can print your own, I suppose. Not as soft and cuddly, but still kind of fun.
I'm sure they're ramping up production on them.
And then you can see, like, the thing here.
It's so sad.
It's so sad. Yeah,
it is. Like,
sad little
get
monkey.
away from me.
Yeah. All right, so that's the story behind this week's Timelapse Tuesday. All right, we're a little over, so I'm just going to go through. Luckily, we only have a few makes from the community. Community makes, starting off with a make of the PyPortal stands. Look at that, how timely. Shout out to Chaotic Hobbies on Printables. They posted up their stand for the PyPortal. It's just a really simple stand. You got your standoffs. You got a 1-part design for the stand with cables to come through. And they said, cool, thanks. It was printed on the Bamboo Lab A1. So thank you, Chaotic Hobbies, for posting that up. And to end the show off, this is actually kind of nice. Do you remember the Halo Energy Sword pager that you put together, and you had these craft sticks?
Oh, yeah.
You just print your own.
Oh, nice.
How about that? Yeah, 3D printed connectors for the Halo Energy Sword. This was posted up by Eli on printables.com, and they said, I made this to replace the connectors for the Halo Energy Sword by Adafruit. I would recommend printing one and test fitting it and then scaling it up or down until it fits right. You'll need about 16 in total.
Perfect.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So if you were ever to do this again, yeah, just print your own connector, man. Yeah, I think you're using like wooden craft sticks that who knows if they're still being made in that same size. And so
did I change? I can't remember whether I changed the technique for the updated
you think you did?
one.
Yeah, I think you're using just screws. Right? Or you're just printing it all in one with supports, because supports are really nice now.
I don't remember.
Street supports. Yeah. But
Oh,
this was
a learn guide.
There is a learn guide. There is a learn guide. What are you talking about?
Sword.
So those are the 2 makes that were posted up. Thank you, everybody, for posting up your makes. All right. Before we end the show,
yeah, you're right. I'm using these little tabs.
Yeah, right.
Where's my thing? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
it's like these little tabs that have screw holes in them now.
Yep. Yeah, screws are more stronger because they're metal. Okay, so tonight is going to be show and tell. So we invite you to come on. It starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. If everything goes right, Lamar and Phil will be hosting tonight's show and tell. You come on by the Adafruit Discord a little bit before 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time to get the invite link to come on and share your projects. Just a quick note, Tim will be doing the deep dive, but also Tim has a new time slot. He's doing Tuesdays at 11 a.m. So I'm going to get that banner up here and updated. But yeah, Tim will be doing this week's deep dive. Normally Scott does it on Fridays, but Tim's back to take his slot, at least for this week. He also did one yesterday. Like I said, he did one yesterday on his journey with new fonts in CircuitPython. So check out Tim on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Thursdays are JP's workshops. So you can tune in to JP tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Mondays are the CircuitPython weekly meeting that start at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Adafruit Discord server, and they get published in after. Tuesdays are now 2 shows. Starting off with Foamy Guy doing his deep dive, and then JP's Project of the Week starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I think we're back here with a bunch of shows, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
And from the desk data will happen randomly whenever they get time to do it. So that's great. And Ask Engineer is still on hiatus, but we get, little snippets from the desk data every now and then. Don't forget, we have a keyboard sale. So if you are looking for some keyboard accessories, keycaps, check out the Adafruit sale on the site. And it'll be on sale for this whole week. And the next week we'll have another round of categorical products on sale.
Real quick, Taith is asking, is there a link for the Quad Squad BFF?
There is. I don't have it with me, but it's like it might be a GitHub repo, and it might be. I know Carter asked for one before. Yeah, I think the plan was, yeah. Liz got these made from Oshawa, but you can get these made from anywhere, any other thing. But we'll get you the link after the show. I just don't have it with me right now. But yeah, I should bring this up like during our weekly meetings and be like, hey, can we get this manufactured? So because folks
make a base camp.
Yeah, there is one. It just needs to be like brought up again because it's like
reping.
Yeah,
repinging.
Yeah, if more folks really want a BFF squad in the Adafruit shop, tag Adafruit on any of the social channels. That's actually a really good way to get a product in the shop, especially since it's already designed. Yeah, like Lamar was really close to getting it. She was like sourcing headers so that it would ship with pre-soldered headers. So yeah, this thing is really, really useful tool. I'm sure it would definitely have a market for folks because for a lot of the projects we don't want to stack.
It gets too chunky.
It's too chunky, yeah. And this is just the right layout for you. The most you're ever going to need is 3 BFFs, best friends forever add-ons for the Cutie Pie or a Zhao. So thank you. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, there it is. Squad. It even has a nice little icon back there.
Oh yeah, the little 2 dancer.
Yeah, you can see it was put together in July of 2023, and we're still trying to get it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Things take time. Well, thank you everybody so much for hanging out. Don't forget coupon code Art Vibes, and then tonight show and tell starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you everybody so much for watching. We'll be here next week, but until then, remember to make
a great day.
Okay, bye everybody.